Good evening, Yusufji. Welcome to the live session today on VG Exports Mastery channel. Let's wait for a few minutes for more people to join, and then we will start the session. So, uh, I hope all the audience who have joined for this session must have had a great weekend, and we are now back to the classroom on VG Exports Mastery channel in Exports Nation Daily live sessions that are occasionally held, taking up certain topics of great interest to the new exporters as well as the established exporters. So, in the past, we have taken many interesting topics in these sessions, and we have also discussed some of the case studies. So, some of the audience were very keen to discuss about and to talk about the CHAs, so-called customs house agents, and the freight forwarders. So, in this session, uh, the audience will be benefited from the discussions on the roles and functions of CHAs and freight forwarders. So that is the idea of today's session, today's live session. So in this session, let us take one small presentation that I have prepared with my past data and my experience and knowledge with respect to these CHAs and freight forwarders. So, using this presentation, I will be able to explain to you the critical role of the one of the most important intermediary, that is the custom house agent or a freight forwarder. Although I will explain to you that what is the difference between a CHA or the freight forwarder, and what exactly CHA means, and what are the different types of freight forwarders, what are the different types of contracts the exporters can have with freight forwarders, what different facilities or the roles that are provided by freight forwarders. So we'll try to discuss the topic of the CHAs and freight forwarders in this session in such a way that you have a proper structure of the understanding of the roles and significance of these logistics providers, so-called logistics providers, so-called clearing and forwarding agents. So in India, the common word that are used for freight forwarders are clearing and forwarding agents generally. But internationally, if we talk about the generic terms that are used, the terms used are freight forwarders or freight forwarding agents or the customs brokers or the customs house agents. So, Prachiji, good evening. Welcome to this session. Sunendra, good evening. So, uh, I am very thankful to the audience who have taken time to join this session, live session on VJ Exports Mastery channel. And as you can see in the window, today we are discussing on the roles and significance of the CHAs, that is the custom house agents and freight forwarders. So, what is the term? As I explained to you, the CNF agents, that is the clearing and forwarding agents, that is a very generalized and generic term that is used to explain. In fact, let me, as per my understanding, in India, we call it clearing and forwarding agents. Also, in the South Asian countries, neighboring countries, also we call it something called CNF agents. That is the clearing and forwarding agents, to mean that the CNF agents provide two important functions, both the role of the CHAs as well as the role of the freight forwarders. That is the reason in India we have, in South Asian countries, including India, we have these generic terms that are very popularly used, as I just explained to you. And I told you that internationally, C&F agents internationally is not a very generic term, not a very common term. In internationally, again, I'm explaining this thing. The terms used are CHAs, that is the custom house agents, or the customs broker, or the freight forwarders. So today, I have prepared a presentation to you. With that, you will understand the whole concept, and you will have a better idea about the CHAs and the freight forwarders. So let me present to you this small presentation, and with this you will get a fairly good idea of the topic. So let me share with you this. So let us discuss who are these people, who are these companies, or who are these organizations. So they can be individuals, they can be the group of persons, they can be a company, or they can be a small partnership firm, or they can be a partnership firm. So depends. They they can be of different types. It doesn't really matter whether they are individuals, whether they are group of people, or whether they are companies. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that what kind of services they provide. So the freight forwarders, or the forwarding agents as they are called, they provide specialized or general services for exporters of all types of export shipments, also for imports. So in this presentation we are mainly talking in terms of the perspective of the exporters. That's why I've used these words, uh, the services for exporters. But they do provide services for the importers also. But let me explain to you that some of these freight forwarders specialize in the services suited to the exporters. Some of these agents or the forwarders are specialized for providing services more suitable for the importers. So, although these are very generic terms which are used, they may specialize in exports, they may specialize in imports. So, CHAs, so called custom house agents, is nothing but a type of specialized service. It is also called custom broking, dealing mostly with customs matters, both for exports as well as imports. So, this explanation I wanted to give you. Don't get confused with C&F agents, as I explained to you. C&F agents is another generic term that is used for the companies or the individuals who provide both custom house related matters as well as the other general services. So that is the simplifications of the generic terms. Those are interchangeably and frequently used in export imports in South Asian countries, including India. So, what are the typical services that are provided by the freight forwarders or the freight forwarding agents. So one of the most important service what they provide is the advice. I'm not talking of India only, I'm talking of all over the world. They provide advice in terms of helping the exporters to do the costing for the exports. So first of all, to get the business, exporters has to do the complete export costing, and they provide all the breakups including freight cost, including the cost involved with the port authorities or customs authorities. What are the costs for the documentation? What is the cost for the insurance? What is the cost, other miscellaneous cost, packing cost, stowing cost, and all these costs, including the cost for arranging the containers, and if there are any consolidation costs that are involved, all those kind of costs. And depending on what are the incoterms, if the incoterms includes the customs clearance in the port of departure, port of loading, port of destination also, they provide that cost also. So they provide all types of breakup, complete breakup of the different costs that are involved in exporting. So that is one. Second, advice relate to helping you out with the best routes and planning. So, friends, what happens since the freight forwarders or the forwarding agents, they are into business, they are doing it on a daily basis, they are dealing with many different parties. So, their knowledge and awareness about the different routes and planning for those routes are so good, becomes supposed to be so good, or becomes so good for the good service providers, that they can actually provide you better routes, and they help you in planning your logistics and the shipment of your export goods from your country, from your warehouse to the warehouse of the importer. So with the help of their experience and knowledge, and they are dealing with so many shipping companies or the airlines, they are able to also provide you better prices. So they provide you better rates, freight rate, they provide you better documentation charges, they are able to provide you many interesting things that can help your business. So friends, what happens generally, the small expert generally the small exporters tend to take advice of these freight forwarders or freight forwarding agents. And in addition, friends, and in addition, these freight forwarders and forwarding agents also have knowledge about what is happening internationally on different ports, on the customs side, or the political situation, or the legal changes that are happening. So, what is all happening, or for example, what is happening, for example, on the different block points or the chicken necks on the sea highways, like states of Malacca or the Suez Canal or the Panama Canal. If something is happening, some issue has happened, or there are congestions, so they already know all that. They are supposed to know all that international situation, and they can guide you how to go about it, or to tell the overseas buyers about the delivery situations, that what is possible, what is not possible. So they are able to give you a better picture as far as the movement of the goods are concerned, whether by sea or by air. They can also provide you advice with respect to the shipment tracking. So in today's world, what is happening is that with the help of the internet, with the help of the satellites communication, and many technologies that are actually beyond the reach of the individual customers, but available to the shipping lines, available to the commercial organizations, using those technologies, they can provide you real time shipment tracking information. So they can even provide you these services, but they can provide you how to go about it. So those things are possible. And they also have many times very good information about the different insurance companies and the different options available to the exporters for ensuring the marine risks or the transportation risks of their shipments. So they can give you consultancy advice, and they can mentor you on these matters, insurance matters also. So that is the very core area of the consultancy advice. Whether it is paid or unpaid, that depends on the relationship you have with the freight forwarders. So these are available because they are doing it every day, so they have very good information on these matters. Now, other services that are provided by the freight forwarders or forwarding agents are very, there are many in fact, but it is very difficult to list out all the services, because in today's world what is happening is that the international movement of goods have become very complicated and complex, and a lot of new technologies are coming. There are so many new developments that are happening. The transportation technology has become very advanced, so they are able to provide many new services that are not even heard of. So very traditionally, very commonly, the classical services that are provided by the freight forwarders and forwarding agents include, apart from the advice, consolidation services. I hope you understand what is the meaning of consolidation. Consolidation means, friends, consolidation means that they take the smaller shipments or so-called LCL shipments, less than container load, and they are able to consolidate those smaller shipments to make them FCL, full container load, and thereby giving better rates, better freight rates, overall optimization of the logistics cost for small shipments. So those kind of consolidation services are very very common, and they provide these services. And some of the uh, freight forwarders and the forwarding agents also have direct dealing with some of the shipping companies as their exclusive partners to provide you LCL services on their ships. So, what is the meaning of this? That since they are tied up with certain shipping lines or the airlines, in air, situation is very different. Consolidation is more suitable for the sea shipments. So what they do, since they are dealing with certain shipping lines and they have very limited ships for which they are booking it, so they take smaller consignments with a surety that consolidation will automatically happen. So they are called non-vessel operating common carriers. So NVOCC. So they act as NVOCC. It means they themselves can issue you the airway bill or the shipping documents. That means the transport document. They can do it because they are working on behalf of some shipping line. They have a tie up. So they call themselves as the shipping companies, but they do not have their own vessels. So they are called NVOCC, that is non-vessel operating common carriers. So those services are provided as part of the consolidation, and these services have emerged out of this consolidation business only. Then they also provide specialized services like space booking. That means space booking in the for the containers, for the sea shipment, as well as space booking for the airlines. Then they also can provide you the complete package of insurance management, including the insurance policies, insurance certificates for the multiple shipments. They can even provide you the services related to the claims also in the case of any damage of the goods. So they can provide you complete services. So this is another specialized service. So I will explain to you that how it works in the next slide. Basically, how these services work. So I'll just explain to you. Then they also provide services like import or container yard handling services. That includes that includes the getting in process, or even the empty container pickup, and the movement of the empty container to the factory premises, even packing and stuffing also they can provide you, and the loaded containers movement to the container yard, in the getting in process, in conjunction with the shipping order obtained by these freight forwarders themselves from the shipping company, and the slots that are available. So that whole process they can provide the complete package. And also they provide inland and international transportation services. So these are also possible. So I will explain again how this happens. So inland and international transportation, packing, stowing and loading on the ship, or the loading can also be for the train, it can be also for the road. So these services, special services, they provide. Then customs handling, home country and overseas custom handling. So I will give you one example of the custom handling, apart from the incoterms. If the incoterms are DAP or DDP or DDU, in such cases, custom handling to some extent or partially or fully may be required. So they can provide you these services. But another very good example of such services include the Amazon FBA services, Amazon Global Selling FBA service, in which case the exporters have to take care of the goods cleared from the home country, and then transportation from the home country to, for example, North American market. If the goods are being sent to the fulfillment center of Amazon in USA, so movement of the goods from the port in USA to the fulfillment center of Amazon. So customs clearance at that has to be taken care by the exporter. So these freight forwarder can provide you that services also. In fact, Amazon already has in its panel the list of such freight forwarders who can provide you complete service, including the return of the goods from Amazon fulfillment center in case you want to bring the goods back. If they are not selling, if they are lying with Amazon fulfillment FBA center, fulfilled by Amazon FBA center, and it is not selling, it can be returned. And they provide you this service also. So you can understand that they provide you both home country as well as the overseas services. Then documentation, including dealing with the banks also. They can provide you services to identify the negotiating bank for presentation of the documents, checking with the banks whether the documents are correct or not. If there is any discrepancy, they can help you in rectifying that. And also they can negotiate with negotiating bank with their negotiating fees. And in all these services they can give you a good price, so you can contact different agents providing these specialized services, and you can check the prices. And of course, the shipment tracking that I have explained to you, they not only provide the advice, they actually do the shipment tracking for you. So these are the typical services that are provided. So here, one very important thing to understand is that what type of dealing is done by the exporter with the CHAs or the freight forwarding agents. So these freight forwarders or the forwarding agents, they can either act as the broker or they can provide you the complete package, logistics services, complete package. So they act as the principal, not as the agent. So agent is just a broker of individual services. So they will work as a agent or a broker to provide you and do the matchmaking with the right service provider, different services. In which case, legally, if anything happens, any problem happens, legally you cannot make them responsible because they are simply working as brokers. So as soon as they make you contact with the right specialized service provider, the job is over of the agent, generally, legally at least. But if they provide you complete logistics systems, one window system, or so-called third-party logistics or door-to-door services, they provide you a single bill for all the services that we listed in the last slide, and thereby they work as the principal. So this is also very common. So it depends what kind of contract you have. So in both the cases, the legal fallout will be different. Legal implications will be different for the agent and for the principal. So I hope you can understand this part. So it depends on the type of contract, what kind of contract you have. So this is the type of contract you have. Then coming to the question of the role of the customs house agent. So custom house agents are for the agents for transaction of any business relating to import or export of goods at the customs, as well as the conveyance of the goods in the customs and out of the custom. So let export process or whatever the process, they can provide you all those services, but mainly related to the transaction of any business related to import or the export of goods at the customs station, whether it can be a seaport, it can be a container yard, it can be dry port, it can be the airport also. So these custom house agents may be having a temporary license, so they are one type, or they are having the regular license. And to get those license, they have to be eligible for that. So I will explain to you these things, but I just wanted to tell you that what exactly is the role of custom house agent. So generally, what happens when the freight forwarders provide you the complete services as a principal, they have their own custom house agents, either employed or tied up. So you are not bothered; they will take care of that. So this is how it works. So if we talk about these CHAs, I will explain to you that what all these custom house agents, what are the licensing system and eligibility. I'll tell you later. But before that, I will also explain to you that what are the different types of freight forwarders. So this I have already explained to you: consolidators and NBOCC. This I will not repeat. Then the other type of freight forwarder is the MTO, multimodal transport operators. So what is the difference? The MTOs will take care of the door-to-door services, warehouse to warehouse services. So whether it is truck, whether it is train in between, or different modes are involved in different legs, by road, by train, by sea, or by air, they will provide you complete service, and they will give you a consolidated cost of transportation from the warehouse to warehouse. So they are called the MTOs. Then the other type is customs brokers, or so-called CHAs, which we have already discussed. They can be port agents also. So what the port agents can do for seaports, or for airports, they specialize in handling of the goods at the port. All services that are related with the port costs. So they will provide you complete cost, what is the cost, and you pay the cost, and they will do everything for you. But there are another type of port agents who are called the air freight agents. So what is the meaning of air freight agents? They not only provide you these port agent services, They can also issue you the airway bill. So they have tie up with the airlines, and they can directly issue you the air freight bill. So they are called air freight agents. They are also called airway bill agents. So these two words are used for them. Then there is another type that is called road haulage brokers. So that you already understand. If goods are being sent by road, for example, from India, very large quantity of exports happen from India to Bangladesh. So that is by road. These kind of services, one example is TCI, that is the Transport Corporation of India. That has tie up with similar companies in Bangladesh, in Nepal, in Myanmar. So they are able to provide these kind of road haulage brokering services and loading brokers. So they are specialized into loading of the goods. So friend, these are the different types of freight forwarders. Now, if we go a little deeper into the functioning of these freight forwarders, their apex body, international association, is called FIATA, very similar to IATA. So it is called FIATA. It is some French name, that is the full explanation, and the headquarter is in Switzerland of this FIATA. And also, in each of the big countries like India or the China or many countries, they have their own regional association, country association, very similar to FIATA, and they could be member of FIATA also. And what they do, they try to group together all different types of freight forwarders as their members. And because of these efforts, there are available publication like International Directory, that is called Worldwide Cargo Directory, that at present have 23,000 complete profile of the freight forwarders in different countries, and they come from 200 different countries. So what they do in this directory, they collect data from the country associations, regional association, as well as from FIATA. So that is how this directory is available. This you can get. And coming to the deeper understanding, so we have got some more time, 5 minutes we can spend on understanding the regulations in India as an example. That will be very similar to in other countries. So I'm taking the example of the CHA licensing regulations in India of 1984. So as per these regulations, there are no ceilings on the number of CHAs who can be licensed. So before a regular license is given, they have to first get the temporary license. And once they meet all the criteria, they can appear for an examination, and if they clear the examination, they can get the regular license. So this is how it works. So criteria for getting the regular license is based on the experience and financial soundness. I will explain to you what is the eligibility criteria. I will give you more details in this in the next slide. A regular license is subject to passing an examination. A minimum volume of business also has to be there with the help of the temporary license, and compliance with some of the regulations that are there in 1984. So, for example, there is one regulation that is number 14, so that can be obtained from this document which is available. So, this is a little lengthy regulation, so you can, very simple regulation, you just read it out. Long paragraph is there, so you will get it. So these are the requirement. And changes in the constitution of a partnership, whether it is a partnership form or a proprietorship form or whatever it is, it doesn't affect the operation of CHA. So it doesn't concern whatever formation of the form is possible in India is possible for freight forwarder. So there is no special constitution is required. And there are regulations regarding, as per this 1984, that CHAs can only charge fees as prescribed under the regulations. Otherwise, their license will be terminated. If anybody complains that they are charging overcharging, their license will be terminated. So this is the system in India. There may be similar system in other countries also. Now, eligibility. This is the last slide. Eligibility for the CHA, it the person should hold a master's degree in LLB or MBA or a CA. This is the requirement, that is, and it should hold a pass in the form of Form G as an employee of a firm or a company. So this is very, very important, because this the date of this Form G will explain that how much experience the person has in this area. Should have at least 3 years of experience in customs clearance work, should have bank certified assets of 5 lakh rupees, and if there are more applicants than the license available in a particular slot, the commissioner will select the person by seniority based on the date of this Form G. So whoever is more senior will get that. So this is how it works. So friends, this is what I wanted to discuss in today's session. Uh, uh, so one question has come from Yusufji: how to find licensed agents of a particular port? So uh, although there are told you about this worldwide world cargo directory is there, I'm not sure whether it lists according to port. But what you can do, you can approach the country association, that is the Indian, like if you are talking about India or whatever country you are talking about, maybe whichever country you belong to, you have to contact the association like FIATA, or you can check with FIATA that which is the association, the contact details from the FIATA. You can send an email to FIATA and check with them in your country whom to contact for port wise for forwarders, freight forwarders. So who are active in a particular port, you can get this list. It's not difficult. So this is very much possible. But only thing is that whether the freight forwarder has declared itself as working for a particular port or not, that has to that is the prerogative of the freight forwarding agent. If he has not listed itself in a particular port, then it will be very, very difficult that uh, where he is more active. So in which case you will have to call all the freight forwarders based on their address, where their headquarters are. Like for example, if some freight forwarder in the directory is there with headquarters in Bombay, obviously he will be more active in Bombay. Or if they have major office in Kandla, so it will be more active in Kandla or Chennai. So that way you'll have to find out. If they have not declared themselves as specialized in a particular port, it will be very, very difficult on the electronic means. So this is my thinking on finding out the license agents of a particular port. So another thing I want to tell you, license agent is not port wise. So it is not that a Bombay port has given any license. No, 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 no. That's not correct. So there is no port wise license. So it is as per the 1984 regulation. The license is provided by government recognized customs department only, customs and revenue department, uh, based on the examination and other criteria. So customs commissioner is the only person. So custom commissioner is not port wise. So you can't, as far as Indian regulation I'm talking about, I do not know the specific regulation of other countries in South Asia or other countries. You can check online what system they have. But in India, it is not the license in a particular port. It may be that a freight forwarder might have registered itself. So registration is a different thing. Like for example, a exporter has to register is 80 number, for example, in a port to use that particular port. So that is okay. But that has nothing to do with the licensing. It is simply the registration. So Pradeep ji has asked one question, that do we have to pay in advance to CHA and freight forwarder? So what you can do, simply go to the document that is given in the Custom House Regulation Act 1984. It has a complete chapter on how to pay, whether you can have to pay any advance, because they have prescribed the whole schedule of fees. Online also you can get it. The government regulations are there as far as the CHA is concerned. But there is no regulation for the freight forwarder. Freight forwarder does not come into this act. Freight forwarder is a different entity. CHA comes, a licensed CHA who has got a temporary or regular license. So that comes in the regulation. So there you can know whether advance payment has to be given or not. But the freight forwarders do not come into that act, so they can ask for advance. Then nobody can stop that. So that is the negotiation you have to do with the freight forwarder. Freight forwarder is a service provider and does not come under that regulation. So this is what my answer is. So in case there are no questions on this subject, I am very hopeful that you got reasonably good information as far as the CHAs and freight forwarders are concerned in this live session today. And the information was based on my experience and research in this area. I have tried to cover very basic information, simple information related to the role and significance of CHAs and freight forwarders, with special focus of the Indian system as an example I have used in today's session. So I am really thankful to all the audience who took time to join today's session, live session on VG Exports Mastery YouTube channel. This session under Export Nation live sessions. So if there are no questions, then we will meet on Thursday. So because of some of my major projects, I am unable to take the daily sessions at present. So the next session will be at 8:30 p.m. on Thursday. I will create the session today itself, and I will also share with you the topic. And if you want to discuss any specialized certain topic, you can send me a request on my WhatsApp number or on my email, whatever way you can contact me, and accordingly I will declare the topic. Otherwise, I will declare topic myself for Thursday, 8:30 p.m. And I really thank you again for joining today's session. Good night. Goodbye.